Hello and welcome to the Top Corner Podcast, episode 11. We are live on YouTube and we are absolutely flowing with the series. It is nice to see you all today. How are we all doing? We've got loads of football to get through, loads of games. We've got this week's fixture results. We've got the weekly roundup with plenty of games to talk about. And of course, we've got Rowan's epic finale feature. We love it. It's been absolutely fantastic over these last couple of weeks. So loads to get through in a short period of time. And I've just realised I'm not even recording on Adobe Audition. So it might be a good idea to do that.
Yeah. I think it would be a good idea.
So, should we do the intro again?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who doesn't want a second dose of that
intro?
Who doesn't want a second dose?
No, for anybody that is watching live, we need to record it. There's potential plans in the mix over the next couple of weeks,
Yes.
so I need to record it again, right? So, apologies, we go again, right? Hello and welcome to the Top Corner Podcast, episode 11. We are live. Thank you very much for all of you that are joining us on YouTube today. Episode 11 already. We're getting absolutely through them very, very quick. We've got loads to get through today. We've got this week's fixture results, plenty of incredible games over the week. We've got lots of matches to talk about in the weekly roundup. And of course, as always, we've got Rowan's epic finale feature. So there's loads to get through over the next 1 hour and a half to 2 hours. So sit back, relax and enjoy. Plenty to come. We like the intro, don't we? So we'll let it play out. We always like it. Oh, it's lovely. So how are we all doing today, guys? Are we all good?
Yeah, I'm alright actually.
No.
You? Why
No.
not, Kieran?
Just sporting related incidents. I'm not.
Is it a certain team in orange that played last night?
Yeah, Wolves hate them. Nah, just disappointing. But we go again because there was some great football around Europe this week. So
It
There was indeed.
Incredible.
How's everything been going for Oldham as well?
Shut up.
Well, the thing is, we actually haven't played, so it's one week where I'm actually happy.
It's weird, isn't it? Because we're getting used to this winter break. Of course, the first time it's really happened. We played on Friday. We won, get in. But in terms of the Premier League, it's very quiet, isn't it? Because half the league's playing and half the league isn't.
I don't mind it because it could have been a lot worse. They could have just said, right, the Premier League's going to be off. Like the International Premier League's going to be off this week and this week. We'll just not do anything. Whereas
I don't think they can do that though, because I don't think they'd want to go like 2 weeks straight without Premier League football. Do you know what I mean?
know, but they get the choice of what they want to do. They get the choice of how to implement it. And I think this is, I'm not a fan, but that's because I've grown up with having week in week out of football. So maybe that's me being greedy.
You naturally get used to it. To be fair, the urge for football for everybody is crazy. Whenever it's an international break and there's no club football, you're dying for it.
However, I think it was filled by these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games we've got in front of us here.
It was indeed.
Apart from one.
I was going to say maybe
not
one
of them. Maybe not 0-0.
But for anybody that is watching on YouTube, thank you very much for joining. As we always say every week, put your comments and opinions in the comment section below, and we'll always answer them. Chris Welch has just joined and says, "Hi guys, hope you are all well." We're all fantastic, apart from a couple of the football teams have been a little bit disappointing. But apart from that, some of the football this week has been absolutely incredible. I mean, as I said before, we picked out 5 games. One of them not as good, but the rest of them, it's safe to say, we had plenty of goals this week. So without further ado, I think we should go straight into this week's fixtures results. Now, before we start, I have looked up the scores and the points for the predictions that we made. There was only one person this week that got a score correct, and that is, of course, Kieren D. You absolutely got Inter Milan, AC Milan spot on. I was just a little bit disappointed. I put 3-2 AC Milan.
Should we start with that game?
That didn't happen. Nah, we'll leave the best till last. I'd say it's one of the best games.
Are you starting with the best, though?
Yeah, we're starting with
I'm
the
pretty
best.
sure you're starting with the best.
It's tricky because when you look at it, Leverkusen Dortmund was a fantastic game.
It was.
Porto Benfica was a top quality match. Less said about Bayern Munich. Inter Milan AC Milan was an incredible match. And even the PSG Lyon game was a pretty good game. There was just a load going on. We'll start with the best then. Leverkusen Dortmund. Does anybody want to read us through this one?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Go for it.
Bayern Leverkusen 4, Borussia Dortmund 3. One of them really great games this weekend. This match did not disappoint with a 7-goal thriller. By half-time, the game was 2-2 with Kevin Volland scoring in the 20th minute, Mats Hummels in the 22nd, then Emre Can scoring that incredible goal in the 33rd minute. Beautiful.
If you haven't seen it, go on YouTube and watch it. It's stunning.
After you've watched us.
And then just before the end of the half, Kevin Volland equalised to make it 2-2. Then we go into the second half. Rafael Guerreiro scores to make Dortmund 3-2 up. Then we just saw a great comeback in the sort of a crumble in the 80th minute from Dortmund. Leon Bailey in the 81st minute scoring, and then nearly a minute later, Lars Bender getting the goal to put them 4-3 up. Yeah, it was a really good game. Obviously, Leverkusen get the 3 points now. Both teams stay 5th and 3rd respectively, so Leverkusen 5th, Dortmund 3rd. But Leverkusen have now really closed the gap on the rest of the league. 6 points from the top.
It's absolutely incredible, this league. I think week in, week out, this league just gets better and better. The quality of football in this game was unbelievable. Like you said before, of course, Borussia Dortmund did collapse within the last 10 minutes, but it really was a case of both teams were going for it. I mean, Leverkusen and Dortmund, they both had goals that were disallowed. Leverkusen had an offside, which was from Diaby, which was absolutely poor from him. He should have been miles onside.
He could see all across the line, and just think it's too far forward, wasn't he?
I think it shows his naivety though as a young kid. And if you look at the Dortmund disallowed goals, where you see Reina making it's a foul he didn't need to make because Bender was never going to catch up. Again, when you look at the VAR rules, it's like, did that impact too much on the goal? No, but it has cost them a goal because of the way the VAR judged it. So I think from both teams, it showed a bit of like how their youthful squads sometimes can work against them in terms of game management. Because in moments like that, if you just let it go, your team is then 5-3 up eventually, and then it ends 5-5 if everything goes to plan.
It was just an absolute stunner. The goal from Emre Can was unbelievable. I think
it just came out of nowhere.
Most people were thinking, what's he doing shooting from there? And it just went all the way into the top corner.
Just came out of nowhere, didn't it? Like I didn't think he was going for it. He's not going to shoot here, is it? But in terms of, I said last week, this is by Leverkusen's biggest game of the season, and it totally was. They played to the occasion. They were unlucky as well because at 2-2, Havertz at the post. And they just went from there, didn't they? Kevin Volland was incredible. He reminds me so much of Roberto Firmino.
I was going to say, Kevin Volland for me is the Bundesliga's Benzema in the fact he's very underappreciated for what he's done, because I feel like over the last 3 or 4 seasons he's always hit double figures. He's one of those consistent players that no matter what, he will score you goals. And I feel like he's very similar in style to Benzema.
Yeah, I just when I look at him, I see Roberto Firmino in with certain elements of his game. Like he got 2, didn't he? He got 2 in this game.
He got 2, yeah.
Just Dortmund crumbled, didn't it? Like I said last week, it's going to be can Bayer Leverkusen outscore Dortmund, and it totally was that.
Do you know what's insane? I feel like this Bundesliga season, when we come in on a Wednesday and talk about it, we'll go, what results make it best for the title race? And we come back and then results happen. Because if Bayern win the game against Leipzig, which we'll talk about later, they go miles clear because Leverkusen beat Dortmund. But because they drew and then Leverkusen beat Dortmund, that just makes that top section more and more crammed. So to have 6 points between your top 5, I don't know how far Schalke are off. Are Schalke in
8 points.
Yeah.
So there might be a little breakaway beginning to happen, but still, to have that many teams in your title race.
And the massive thing is, Gladbach's game was called off because of the weather, so they've still got a game in hand, which means they can go into second place, depending on their results, second or third. So the Bundesliga is just incredible.
They'll go third.
They'll go third. Goal difference,
unless they won by 13 goals.
You never know. It could happen.
Cologne have got a leaky defence. So
with the way the Bundesliga has been, it could happen.
It was the only time I think that Haaland's played 90 minutes this season and not scored. I think I'm pretty sure that was the stat.
Do you know what as well?
He's a flop.
It wasn't even that bad in the game.
No,
he had a couple of pretty decent chances here and there. That
Borussia Dortmund are so scary going forward, aren't they?
Oh, 100%.
But it's just the defence. Like I don't see. When you look at that defence on paper, you think, wow, that's all right, innit? You've got Akanji, Hummels, Guerrero, and Zagadou, Hakimi,
Piszczek.
They've got a really good defence, and it's just Berkey in net as well.
I mean, you forget Nico Schultz as well.
Schultz, they've got a lot of good defenders, and it's strange to see them. They've always had kind of a leaky defence.
I think it's their style of play. I just think they are constantly full throttle. If you want a team to manage your game, Dortmund I'd never choose PSG. because they can't seem to control the game when they're in Europe.
Well, you say that, Borussia Dortmund play PSG, don't they, next week?
That's going to be an absolute
Segue.
goal mammoth. Segue, by the way, next week is going to be a Champions League special. So the whole episode is going to be dedicated to the Champions League and the Europa League next week.
I made sure it was the Europa League as well.
He wanted the Europa League in.
Can you wait till in a couple of years when it's the Europa Second Cup or whatever?
Oh God, yeah, 2021. Chris Wells has put in the chat, don't get me started on VAR or referees. He put, didn't work out for Chan at Juventus. Dortmund is perfect for him. Wish us at Liverpool still had him, but we've got enough midfielders now.
I really wanted him. Like, he was linked to Man United heavily. I really wanted him because I like Emre Can. I liked him when he was at Liverpool. But I suppose it's a bit of a loyalty.
No, he's absolutely quality. And I'll tell you what, the technique for that goal, the way to get it up and down in that area. And you know what? When he first hit it, I thought, it's ambitious. I mean, it's not got.
Jesus! Kept curling, didn't he?
Yeah, I just thought what you said. Why is he taking it on from there?
Why is he shooting it? Well, I'm not on it from him, so.
Yeah. But it was a fantastic game, and Chris Welch has just added as well. Dortmund are like Liverpool from 2016-17 and 17-18, fantastic going forward, but so vulnerable in defence. I think that's the perfect way.
I think it's because Liverpool added that defensive midfielder in Fabinho, whereas Dortmund play with a double pivot with Brandt and Witsel. It doesn't work in defensive terms. Yeah.
To improve the defence. I think as well when you look at the defence, it is very very experienced. It's very experienced. Piszczek's been playing the Bundesliga for years. Schul's been playing the Bundesliga for years. Berkey, Hummels. So it's a case of, to me, I just think it's exactly what you said, Kieran. It's a case of it's how they play. It's attack.
In fairness, the defence started against Leverkusen was Guerrero at left back, Zagadou, Hummels, and a Kanji at right back. You're more or less playing three at the back there because Guerrero's so attacking thinking.
Kanji at right back.
Yeah, Guerrero's so attacking thinking that you're playing three at the back there.
Do you think this sort of defensive vulnerabilities that come from Dortmund is just a lack of learning from the Klopp era? Because we saw how Klopp likes to play, and now once he's got his big players like his Van Dijk and his Fabinho at Liverpool, that's kind of sorted it. But for example, Lucien Favre might not be able to get what is.
I think they're just too attacking minded. Like you've seen this season, Guerrero and Hakimi have scored a lot of goals this season. So the fullbacks and they've not got a defensive midfielder.
But I think that's still from the Klopp era. Like still a hangover.
Like a lot of defenders used to score in the Klopp era. Like I remember Felipe Santana scoring a double against Malaga in Champions League.
Oh, yes,
what a player!
That was a throwback.
It's just they're too attacking minded. With fullbacks, I feel like it's like on Football Manager where you put them on support instead of put them on attack. They need to come back and go forward. They're just Guerrero is, like you said, he's too attacking minded. You've seen how many goals he scored this year, and Hakimi was their top goal scorer in the Champions League at one point.
Yeah, but I think I kind of don't want them to gain defensive stability because they're just too fun to watch.
Yeah, it makes an interesting watch.
Which is why PSG v Dortmund is going to be a fantastic game to watch. It's going to be brilliant, and that is, I think, is that one of the first games up? I think.
I'm not sure. I think the fact is that I don't know, and I'm really happy that I don't know.
That is going to be a car crash in the best way possible because it's just going to be two teams.
I hope PSG car crash again.
The first game's Atletico, Liverpool, Dortmund, PSG.
Is that on the Tuesday?
There we go.
Atletico, Liverpool, and Dortmund, PSG are both on Tuesday.
Wow.
So
massive games. Do you know what times they are, by the way?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Ooh.
Do you know what? See, one thing I don't like about the Champions League is the days where they'll put on, for example, Atalanta v Valencia and like Tottenham v Leipzig on one day, whereas the other 2 days they'll have like Dortment, PSG, and Atletico. I'm like, switch them round.
In fairness, them 2 games are going to be compared. The Atalanta and Valencia.
That one's going to be a great game.
Mid teams battling to get through to the next round.
That one's going to be a good one.
And at least we're going to have one of those teams through to the next round.
And Tottenham, Leipzig as well. Leipzig can probably dispatch Tottenham with ease.
I think Leipzig will beat Tottenham.
Which we'll be talking about Leipzig later on. Of course, that game against Bayern Munich. We're going to move over to Portugal now. Talk about one great game. We move over to another massive game in Liga NOS. FC Porto, they claimed a massive victory to close the gap on their arch rivals Benfica at the top of the table to only 4 points after another thrilling game this weekend. Sergio Oliveira opened this scoring with an acrobatic effort after 10 minutes before the Liga NOS top goal scorer, especially for Benfica, Carlos Vinicius, who's having a fantastic season for the club.
I thought he was a winger, not a striker.
Yeah, I think he used to be, and then they moved him up to striker. It's been working perfectly. He equalised 8 minutes later from a rebound. Then Alex Telles, he's been on fine goal-scoring form recently. I feel like I've seen him score like nearly every week.
He does
so
take
far,
penalties, though.
which is what he scored. He scored a penalty. Handball was given in the 38th minute, which comfortably stroked home to the bottom left-hand corner. 6 minutes later, things got worse for Benfica after a Marega cross led to a Ruben Dias own goal, which gave Porto a 3-1 lead before Carlos Vinicius went on to score again, but it wasn't enough to spur the league leaders on for a comeback. It means Carlos Vinicius is now up to 14 goals in the Liga NOS. He's absolutely flying. And once again, Benfica making talents up top. They lost this game. Porto are right back in the title race in Portugal.
How many points behind are they?
4.
Ooh.
It was 7. So when you look at 7 last week, you think, yeah.
Haven't Benfica only lost 2 games this season, though? And what, they're both to Porto?
Yeah,
and Porto have both lost 2 games this season as well, but they've drawn 2.
Right. Well, it's just I just can't see it happening. Benfica are too good.
It's so interesting because you think, especially with the Liga NOS, you look at it and you think, where do these teams drop points? And you think the only teams really, the big ones will drop points against or have a chance is Sporting Lisbon, or their arch rivals, Porto or Benfica, depending on who they're playing.
In fairness, Sporting are 15 points behind Porto.
Yeah, it's massive.
Sporting
difference.
fell off a lot this year.
They've had a lot of players go, and obviously Bruno Fernandes being one of them. So they've got a lot of work to be done in terms of bringing in new players, and of course they've got new prospects and players like that are building.
But when we were looking at the table the other day, it's close between 3rd and I can't remember if it was 6th, 7th, or 6th.
Yeah, because Rio Ave is 3 points.
Rio Ave.
Rio Ave.
Had to stick them in there, didn't you?
No, seriously, Rio Ave play Sporting Lisbon this weekend.
They do. It's a big one.
And if they win, they go into the Champions League spaces. So I think in terms of the league, they've kind of split the top 6 off into 2 groups.
Can I ask a quick question as well? For Millicao, where are they in the league?
They are 6th. The same points as Rio Ave.
So in Portugal, how many teams going to Champions League? Is it 3?
Was it 2? 1. I think 1 goes indefinite.
Yeah.
2 go through qualifying.
Right.
2 go Europa League.
Right.
Yeah, so it is a very tricky league because you look at the 3 big teams, Porto, Sporting, Benfica, you think, yeah, they're guaranteed to always get in, but what are you going to say, Kieran?
I remember Famalicão because they got promoted last season.
They did, yeah.
And
Jorge Mendes.
They've come out of absolutely nowhere, and they had Josh Timon, who used to play for us. They signed him from Stoke on loan. And then all I remember was at the start of the season, they were just a house on fire. Honest to God, they were blazing.
Top of the league for quite a while. And of course, they've had Jorge Mendes has been a major part of the transition for Famalicão. They're hoping they can become the next big thing. And I mean, even to be 6th in the league right now is still fairly impressive.
It's very Wolves-like, isn't it?
Yeah.
In fairness, they did lose 7-0 on the 8th of February to Vitoria.
That was like last week.
Ouch.
Not even last week.
Yeah.
Steps to be learned there.
They drew with Benfica in the cup.
In terms of the league, there's a lot of players that have, in recent times, gone from Porto and Benfica, Sporting Lisbon, like Bruno Fernandes, Lindelof, Edison, João Felix, Oblak. There's a lot of players that are getting poached from that league and are becoming, they're well-known names in European football already. It's nice to see that. It's nice to see players going from leagues like this, coming into the mainstream football, and then
they keep on producing, don't they?
Yeah, they
exactly.
do. It's fantastic. The quality of players that they make in the league is unbelievable.
Do you think it's similar to the Eredivisie model?
I was going to say that. Very similar. I mean, you look at Sporting over the last couple of years, of course. The biggest one we know, Ronaldo. Of course, Bruno Fernandes as well. Nani.
Rui Patricio.
So many good players have come from specifically just Sporting. Sorry.
You think of the goalkeepers, like you got Oblak, Rui Patricio, Edison, just to name a few that have gone out of that league.
I mean, it's crazy to think Benfica had Oblak and Edison at the same time.
Yeah.
I bet they never expected them to both become what they are now.
Aye, but now they've got Vlachodimos, so does it
exactly.
really matter?
And they've got Svila, Milos Svila.
Milos Svila. Less said about him for that specific performance we know about, but we move on.
That was great.
You were loving it.
I felt a little bit sorry for him against. He did it twice.
Yeah.
No, I feel for young goalkeepers because it happened to, was it the Ghent goalkeeper as well? Yeah, the young goalkeeper that got to start in Europe for the first time.
What we're referring to, if you don't know, about 2 years ago, Man United played Benfica in Benfica, and Rashford took a free kick from about 35 yards out on the wide on the left wing, just whipped it into the box. It were a nothing ball at all. And he caught it behind his line, and he were holding it in front of him as if it was like on the line, but it was just so far back in the net that it was clear that it was a goal. And then when we played him at Old Trafford, I think it was Matic who had a nothing shot. It hit the post, hit his back, then went in, and he was really unlucky.
As you said, it's a lot of pressure on a goalkeeper. Champions League, you think about it, no matter what game it is, it's the Champions League. For them, it's the biggest stage that they've been on.
The thing is, they didn't even play bad against us. Like, they should have beat us twice.
But recently I've been seeing, maybe it's just because I support the Championship, but the amount of goalkeeping errors, I mean, I saw Raya against us let one through his...
What was doing yesterday?
I was getting onto that. I was going to say Raya against us, when he let it through his legs from the halfway line, great finish by Tafazoli. But then yesterday in Leeds Brentford, I don't know who's the goalkeeping coaches, but they both need sacking.
David Raya's done it again, hasn't he?
David Raya did it again. He came for a cross, missed it, and Kiko Casilla, I don't know what he was thinking. He just decided to try and take a touch and then fell over.
bad time for goalkeepers, isn't
honestly, if you don't go to the Championship, if you
De Gea's had a few of them this year as well. He's had a few howlers.
Chris Welsh's put Benfica Porto title race like the Premier League title race last season, where Liverpool had a 7-point lead against City. City closed the gap all on Porto to do similar. And then he put, don't worry, Wolves will be raiding Liga NOS in the summer transfer window. You're probably right.
They signed a lot of Portuguese players, don't they?
I was going to say, as I've said this before, but I love it when Wolves lose because people say, oh, Wolves lost today. It proves one thing. They're nothing without Portugal and nothing without Ronaldo. I love it every time.
If you are new to the comments as well and you're new to the stream, we do appreciate all your comments throughout the show. Tell us your opinions on the games that we go through, and tell us opinions on your club, even if you don't support any of these teams.
Especially if you're a Leeds fan.
Exactly. How did your club go on this week? So if you are new as well, do subscribe to the channel. We might as well just quickly plug in the fact we've got the NFL Corner tomorrow. We had the Ring Rush yesterday. We've got Sports Day on Friday. And we had Team of the Week predictions on Monday. So there's loads of content throughout the midweek on the channel.
That's our mid-break ad, that is.
It is. It's great, isn't it? We're now going to move on to
back to the Bundesliga.
Back to the Bundesliga, and for the game that, it wasn't as exciting as the rest. Who wants to talk us through this one?
I'll do it.
Go for it.
So a game touted by many as the biggest game in the Bundesliga so far this season ended goalless.
That's it.
Gormless is what you should have put. Leaving the doors open for the rest of the league to capitalise in the hunt for the title, which is fantastic for Germany. It's the most exciting the Bundesliga's been in most recent years anyway. With only 4 shots overall in the game, both the league's top goal scorers didn't shine as expected. Such a big match, although major chances were missed, including a late opportunity for Marcel Sabitzer, which he skied over the goal. Bayern stay first and Leipzig stay second, but with Gladbach's game being postponed due to weather conditions and other teams picking up points, everyone between first and fifth are well and truly in the title race.
It was a little bit disappointing. It was weird because the Leverkusen Dortmund game I didn't feel like was getting enough hype. The Bayern Munich Leipzig game was getting all of the hype. Everyone was like, "This is the fixture of the season." And then, quite frankly, it turned out the opposite. Yeah. Everyone was like, "Oh, Lewandowski scored 22. Werner scored 20. It's going to be like the 5-4 one that happened a couple of years ago." Yeah. And then it was anything but, to be honest. I mean, we watched quite a bit of the game. There was not really a great deal going on.
Was there? I know that Kieran watched the game. I'm about to ask you what you thought.
We forgot one thing, and that was that Lewandowski did actually have a penalty, but it got disallowed because he was offside, remember?
Yeah.
He got given a penalty from Upamecano dangling a leg when he didn't need to, but he was offside in the build-up, so VAR cancelled that all off. But overall, I think no one seemed like they were going to win the game. Werner missed an absolute glorious opportunity.
Yeah, I forgot. I was going to say I felt like I missed a chance. He missed an absolute sitter.
It was Nkunku broke down the left-hand side, and he R1 squared it right in. It was like a curled ball across just above the turf. It's one of them you'll see Werner bury half the time. I don't know if it was the pressure, the importance of the game, but he took it first time on the volley, and it just literally as fast like that you thought, oh, it's got to be it. It went past the post. But I mean, overall, I think Upamecano made a brilliant block in the first half.
He had a really good game.
Apart from the penalty.
Apart from the penalty, he went on this run. I think was it in the second half where he picked up the ball and he just kept going. And I thought, is he going on goal? Is he going to score? And then he went for the pass and he completely
he proved why he's a centre back.
Yeah, which I was like, I thought he was going to go all the way, but
he did one in the first half though where he took the block. But do you know one of them blocks where it looks like if you get your foot angle any more less perfect than what he got it was going in on goal.
Yeah.
The way he flicked it just as it curled past the post. It was brilliant from him.
But I've got a comment here from Chris Welch. He says, do you think it's Naby Keita's last season at Liverpool next season? He's been suffering with injuries. Unfortunately, I feel if it happens next season, could he go back to the Bundesliga?
No, because I think Gini Wijnaldum's going to go in the summer.
Do you feel like he will take his place?
Yeah, him or Oxlade-Chamberlain. It's just unlucky, and he's unlucky with injuries. Like, he's a good player as much as I banter him.
Well, we saw him at Leipzig, didn't we?
Banter him. He has played well when he's played for Liverpool in some occasions. Like he's played well in Champions League when they played. He's just unlucky, and it's just unlucky with injuries. You can't stop getting injured.
No.
So it's just I can't see him leaving.
No, I can't. But with this game, I feel like people they were just a little bit scared. Do you know what I mean? To drop points both sides.
Another thing we forgot was that Galaxy 1-on-1 save, which was absolutely brilliant from him.
Credit to Galaxy.
Oh, I can't remember who it is went through 1-on-1. I think Galaxy, to be honest, just gambled on the side he thought he was going to.
Goretzka who
yes,
went
it was.
Through, yeah.
It was Leon Goretzka. He was breaking through 1-on-1. I think Galaxy just kind of went, I'm going to presume he's going to go to the right, so I think he made a movement just before he took the strike, and it was perfect.
It was fantastic. Give credit to him. I do feel like he was the best player on the pitch in terms of performance-wise, because Bayern, there was a point where Bayern were peppering them, and they were absolutely dominating, but he really did keep them in the game, because I feel like if one of those goals, one of those chances went in, I do feel like the floodgates would have opened.
If you look at the stats, Bayern had 11 shots, 3 on target, Leipzig had 9, 1 on target.
It felt like there was a lot more than that to me from how Bayern played. I think the first half it was all Bayern. They were completely dominating.
But were they getting the shots off, or were they just putting dangerous balls into the box?
Yeah.
Like, for example, I think Leipzig, which was weird about a Leipzig team, was almost like a makeshift defence, because they had Klosterman in at centre half.
Klosterman was playing centre back and Tyler Adams was playing right back. It was a 3-5-2.
Is Orban and Kanate and Mukiele all injured?
To be fair,
I'd assume so. Yeah, I think Orban's been out for quite a while.
If you go any team that goes to Bayern Munich would be happy to come back with a point, I think.
Oh yeah, I think to be fair, both teams will probably look at that and think, do you know what? It's not too bad.
I would have been happy if I were Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
I'd have been more happy if I were Leipzig to say like the penalty got disallowed, Galaxy made a save. It sounds like they were on the side of luck in that.
I just feel like if obviously there was that chance Werner had, it could have quite easily swung the other way.
And Sabitzer.
Yeah,
Sabitzer was like free as a bird in the middle. And I do feel this game, as because of the billing it got, and because it is crucial for the title race. This could have won or lost the title for both teams.
Yeah,
I think the pressure of the situation, that I think both teams played within themselves. They both had chances.
No, I agree.
But they weren't expressing themselves. There wasn't as much movement from Werner. Werner in the first half was starting wide left to cut inside, which made no sense.
Another player that was on the pitch. I was very disappointed with Dani Olmo.
He was, yeah.
I didn't really see much of Dani Olmo at all, and I don't know whether it's obviously he's only just joined the league, so he's getting used to it, and he's having a feel for it.
It's
but
a massive game. Sometimes it's tricky to get involved, and he's still young.
I think it was even at half in the second half. One of the commentators said, "Oh, that's Dani Olmo on the ball," as if he was surprised. And it was, as you said, he's very young and he's only just joined, so he's not really had time to properly
train. They always do a good job of like marking the number 10 as where Dani Olmo normally plays. They've got the defensive midfielders and they've got the midfielders in there. They probably know how creative he is and how much of a threat he is. So they've probably just stuck everyone on him.
Yeah, we've got a question about Timo Werner. Chris has asked, where do you think Timo Werner will be next season? Do you think he'll stay at Leipzig, or do you think he'll move to Liverpool, Real Madrid? Where are we feeling?
Mine depends on if they win the league.
Yeah, I was about to say.
He's got that 52 million release clause, hasn't he? Which is criminal. We should pay that now.
I think he goes to Chelsea.
Really?
If Chelsea get Champions League football, these are all the factors that need to happen.
Some maybes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Chelsea get into the Champions League. Leipzig do not win the title. I think he goes.
But Lampard likes Tammy Abraham.
He does, but
the thing is though, he's still probably going to need another striker, isn't he? Because Giroud's
going to get rid of Batshuayi.
I don't think Tammy Abraham wants to sit on bench.
No, I don't think they will. I think they'll just depending on the game type, they'll change.
Because I think, as you said, Batshuayi will go, and then Giroud will 100. Surely Giroud will not be there next season unless things change. Yeah.
You see the problem with Tottenham when Kane gets injured, and they've got next sub strikers Troy Parrott.
They play Son up front.
This is what I'm saying. They play Son, but right, okay. Tammy Abraham gets injured. I don't really want to play Batshuayi or Giroud. We'll put Hudson-Odoi. Just move him across. It's not going to work.
I think Werner would be a decent fit at Tottenham. I don't think it'd happen, but I think it'd be all right.
He'd be too much of a backup to Kane. The thing is, Abraham is replaceable at this current moment because of how young he is. Like, he's interchangeable. Whereas with Kane, they won't sit him on the bench.
I think Timo Werner's better than Harry Kane.
I
think Timo Werner is better. Harry Kane, ever since he got that ankle injury last year, he's not been the same.
No.
We need a sound for a big statement.
Big statement.
Timo Werner's been consistent in the Bundesliga ever since he's burst onto the scene. Yeah, he wasn't good in the World Cup or the Euros.
But that was the whole team, not just Werner.
He's never been impressive on internationals for me, which makes me. It doesn't make me question, but it does. You've got to take into account this is when he plays other teams from Europe. So if he plays France, most players from Ligue 1, would he struggle in Ligue 1?
Harry Kane does always turn up.
I just feel like the thing is with Germany, I feel like Germany's got a very similar issue to what England had about 10 years ago, that there's a divide. Most of the German players are Bayern or Dortmund.
Well, you saw.
And quite frankly, they don't tend to get on.
You saw the Bayern president refused to let Manuel Neuer go on international duty if he didn't get played which is a joke.
Because Ter Stegen's better.
Ter Stegen is better.
Germany's it's weird one because it's like you look at all the players, you see, Royce, Brandt, Werner, Goretzka, even the back line, Neuer, Hummels, Tar, plays like that, and you think, how are they not doing as good?
I'm still fuming that he didn't take Leroy Sané at World Cup.
Well, there's another one, Leroy Sané.
Was that political issues or was that Ozil?
Attitude issues.
Attitude. Who was it? Was it Ozil with the political issues with the Turkish stuff?
I know. Yeah. Basically, I do think there's a lot of egos in the German team, and I do think it might be because of the divide that they've got between teams and stuff. Yeah.
He did flush out all the. I don't want to say oldies, but he flushed out a lot of the more experienced players. Didn't he? I know most recently he's been playing Ginter at centre half alongside. Got rid of Boateng.
Which actually, give credit to Ruan Boateng. He's been getting back on form quite recently. Give him some credit.
So is Hummels for Dortmund. I think they sort of coming into the age of the centre back of. They've had the young phase, they've had the old phase, and now they're just being them sort of the legend status sort of.
Yeah.
I've got two people I do want to credit in this game that I want to say who have been brilliant over recent weeks. One is Thiago.
Yes.
One is Thiago.
We said that last week, didn't we?
He's been unbelievable on the ball. His close control is second to none, and second is Alphonso Davies. Because he has made the left back.
I thought you were going to say Nkunku.
It was the first 10 minutes where I think it was Werner was going through on goal. The pace that Davies used to beat Werner and the cheer, the crowd. Nkunku, that's it. The cheer he got.
No, centre back.
No, centre back for now.
There's transition.
Right.
Yeah. The cheer he got from the crowd for that tackle on Nkunku.
He's a good player.
Was if he'd scored the winning goal.
He's a really good player though.
I like all the North Americans.
He's incredible.
All the North Americans moving over. You've got Davis from Canada. You've got Gio Reyna from America. You've got
Tyler Adams,
Weston McKenna.
I think one thing is though with Alphonso Davies, because he's so young and because he's only just learning the left back position, one thing he has got on his side is if he makes a mistake, he's got the pace to rectify it.
Yeah.
So because he's moved over. And for example, if he does lose his man and he gets in behind, like he did against Nkunku, because he's so fast, he can kind of make up for it right now. Whereas maybe as he gets older, he might want to go back to that left mid position because
a little bit similar to Rafael Guerreiro, isn't he, in that same sense?
I mean,
left back, left mid.
I could see them deploying a 3 and then at 5 because you've got Schuler. Obviously, you've got Boateng. Pavard can kind of come in if he wants him to, but they like deploying him at right back. But I just wanted to give credit to one Thiago, who I think is absolutely brilliant this season, and to Alphonso Davies, who's for a guy who's so young to adapt to a position he's not used to and have a storming season. Fell credit to.
You got to think as well. Before Hansi Flick came in, he wasn't really being picked, was he? So to just get dropped into the side and to be told you're playing left back.
If you look at that midfield, he is the best midfielder, isn't he?
Who, Thiago?
Yeah, in the Bayern Munich midfield.
Yeah.
Like Goretzka's really good, but I still think Thiago's better than him. And they've got Tolisso, he's alright. I can't think of Javi Martinez.
They've got Muller. He's been really good this season, Muller. Really good.
Looking at the Bayern bench. What was that? You've got Odriozola, Coutinho. You've got
Coutinho.
I'm gonna butcher his name. Soissons, the French centre mid, the young guy. Lucas Hernandez, Tolisso, Ulreich, Koeman, and Xerxes.
Lucas Hernandez.
Yes.
That is interesting because what they could easily do is put Lucas Hernandez at centre back and put Alaba on the left. Which is really interesting in terms of that, or maybe he's just coming back from an injury or not. But
I'm guessing Flick wants Davis to be that left back for him.
I think he got injured. I'm not. Don't quote me. Yeah, check if Lucas Hernandez got injured.
Lucas Hernandez.
In the meantime, Chris has put he agrees with the opinion that Werner's way better than Kane. He said bold opinion. Kane shouldn't be in the England lineup. Same for Tottenham. Both play as a team without him. When he plays, it's all about him.
I don't know. Kane's always scores goals though. I'd like to see England without him. I'd like to see someone new in there.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
This is just stupid. I didn't realise Lucas Hernandez were related to Theo Hernandez.
Yeah. And by the way, when you're talking about Luis Hernandez, he is a person. One, he's an icon that used to play for Mexico, and two, he also used to play for Leicester. Do you remember the centre back that now plays for Malaga?
Yes.
He went rubbish, wasn't
he? He did get injured.
Right, should we move on anyway?
Coming back. Yeah. Let's go over to what Italy. A game this was. Honestly, it's just been an incredible week of football. This game specifically was just as unbelievable as the Leverkusen-Dortmund game. Do you want to read through this one?
I do, because we did watch this together.
We did.
Sadly, before we say, there was no Lautaro Martinez. He had to watch this. He had to watch this game
suspended.
Oh yes,
he was suspended. So,
mind you, his replacement didn't play bad, did he?
No,
no, he didn't at all. Conte's side produced an incredible second half comeback because the opening half was quite dismal viewing, as Ante Rebic, who himself is on brilliant form at the moment, he kind of came out the shadows at AC Milan, has been brilliant
Batman?
since. Sure. And Zlatan Ibrahimovic, the ageless legend, put the side into a comfortable lead, 2-0 going into half-time break. But Conte got the air dryer out, and in the second half they were a completely different side. Brozovic scored 6 minutes later into the second half with a long-range volley that, again, if you hadn't checked out Chan's goal...
absolutely quality.
After this, go check out Chan, then Brozovic, and then you'll see what we're talking about. Then, Matheus Vecino got the score level after smart work from Sanchez, who just beat the offside trap. Very minute, because we looked at me and Josh and were going, he's off.
Yeah.
He's off, but he wasn't. Just beat them offside trap, and it left an open goal for the Uruguayan to score. I think it took a defection off Kier going in. De Vrij then made it 3-2 to Inter Milan in the 70th minute with an absolute stunning header. I thought Bender's was good.
Quality. His header.
A proper centre-half header.
No goalkeeper was saving that.
Bullet header.
No, he stooped down and he kind of lifted it with his neck over to the far corner, over the goalkeeper. Absolutely brilliant
Great
stuff.
balling as well, though.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Where no goalkeeper could save. Romelu Lukaku then linked up with Victor Moses, who got subbed on. And they later on to seal the winner and put Inter top of Serie A after Juventus obviously lost a second half collapse against Hellas Verona.
Yeah, they were terrible against Verona.
1 point separates Juventus and Lazio in the top 3. One thing was, who was the ball that gave the ball to Victor Moses? Because I want to give him credit as well.
Matheus Vecino.
Absolutely brilliant. He hooked it round the midfielders that was kind of guarding him because he was keeping it in the corner. How he kept that ball in play.
I
don't
honestly
understand how it didn't go out. When he kicked it, he sort of just whipped.
Yeah.
When he was just about to go out like a magnet.
There was like very minimal space between two defenders marking him, and somehow he was able to get through. I was like, how has he done that?
Absolutely brilliant.
What a game, though. I mean, this was the advertisement for the Serie A this season. We talked about this game before. We said this was going to be the biggest Milan derby in years. We know, obviously, AC Milan, who put a fantastic display in the first half, but it just wasn't enough. A complete collapse by them. It's the first time AC Milan in the last couple of years that have come into it in good form and on high spirits. Same for Inter Milan, of course, fighting for the title. Very, very high spirits. It was unbelievable. I mean, Zlatan Ibrahimovic did everything he could to get his side the win, and same with Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who had a fair couple of chances himself to go through on goal and score, but Inter Milan, the way they came out in the second half was unbelievable.
That's the spirit of champions.
Yeah.
And because what was interesting about their third goal, I think it was. Oh no, I think they were 3-2 up at the time. Ibrahimovic had a very similar header to the one Lukaku scored at the back post, and he headed it, and it hit the post and then came out. So, honest to God, end to end. If you want to watch quality football, it's not always in England. These games that happen abroad.
We'll get say it every week, don't we?
Yeah.
Germany and Italy, the places to be at the moment.
It was a stunning game.
This league is heating up, obviously. Like you said, Inter and Juventus on same points. Inter winning 7+ goal difference. Lazio 1 point down there, but they've got better goal difference. All they need is a draw.
Haven't they got a game in hand?
However,
no.
Very, very big game we'll be talking about later on is Inter via Lazio.
But I think the best challenge now is the 4th spot for the Champions League, because you've got Atalanta who are in 4th on 42, then Roma, who are currently sitting in 5th in the Europa League spot, on 39. So I'm guessing them two will play each other this season, and that might determine the 4th Champions League spot, which is going to be very interesting.
I think Atalanta will want that 4th Champions League spot, because
they want to get back in there again.
Yeah, and I don't know about anyone else, but I feel this season, I feel refreshed when it comes to European football, in terms of it's been dominated for so long by the same teams. And I don't want to say it's become monotonous to watch, but it has. It's like we watch Bayern.
Word.
Thank you. We watch Bayern and we just think, oh, they're going to win every game. We watch Juventus and they're going to run away with it. We focus on the Champions League and how they do over there instead. And I think the next league to come out of that shadow hopefully will be Ligue 1, because watching Serie A and watching the Bundesliga this year, I've had so much fun, because every game is a toss-up now, and it never used to be that way. And I don't know about anyone else, but it just feels brilliant.
It's just week on week, there's always games you look at and you think, wow, these are good games. And it's not just because of the name, it's because of the positions in the league. Everything's so close, everything's so tight. Apart from Ligue 1, apart from the title race in Ligue 1, the rest of Ligue 1 is still very, very tight between, I think, 3rd and 11th or 12th, so it's tight no matter where it is right now.
And speaking of Ligue 1, PSG beat Olympique Lyon 4-2.
They did, yes. Once again, this was another incredible advertisement for the Ligue 1. A stunning game. It was a tense affair in France too. PSG were able to fight off an incredible comeback, what could have happened, by Lyon. Di Maria, who has been ever so consistent. Is it just me that thinks Di Maria has been very underappreciated at PSG?
Yeah.
Very underappreciated for what he does. He opened the scoring after 22 minutes. He beat the goalkeeper at the near post. And then 15 minutes later, Mbappe, he made it 2-0. A devastating ball from Icardi. Quality assist by the Argentinian. He left the Frenchman to go 1-on-1 to make it 2-0. And then to make matters worse, an absolutely comical own goal by Marcal. He smashes the ball into his own net.
Great finish.
It's a quality finish, the pace and the power on the ball to go into his own net.
That was the bit before it, because wasn't the ball going out or something, and someone then blocked it back into play?
It, yeah.
I was like, what are you doing?
And then the ball's just put in, and he smashes it into his own goal to make it 3-0. And by that point, you look at it and you think, 3-0 down, yeah, you've got no chance. But second half, unfortunately, couldn't do what Inter Milan did. First of all, they had a goal from Martin Terrier. He scored after a poor save from Navas. That was in the 52nd minute. And then 7 minutes later, Moussa Dembele scored a tap-in. Lovely, neat work with Carl Toko Ekambi, who I've got to say, he's done very, very well since he's gone to France to make it 3-2. But it wasn't enough, because the all-time top goal scorer of PSG, Edison Cavani, was able to smash in a late goal to give them all 3 points. PSG, they stay top by 12. Lyon moved down to 9th without winning their last 3 matches, but the league is so tight, it changes week in, week out. Credit to Cavani as well, because obviously we know he was linked heavily with a move away in the summer. He's not once kicked up a fuss about it. He's come back into the side, and everybody stood up and applauded when he scored that goal, and he kissed the badge.
He's the consummate professional. He
He's
really is. He's what
fantastic.
I like to see from footballers.
I think if we look at the league again, of PSG sitting on 61 points, comfortably going to win the league, comfortably Champions League. Marseille on 49, second Champions League spot. They're 8 points ahead of Rennes.
Stade Rennes.
Stade Rennais.
Rennes? Who cares?
They're ahead of Rennes.
Whatever they want to be.
On 3 points, who are in that qualifying. They're in the qualifiers for the Champions League.
Yep.
But and then it's Lille in 4th on the Europa League spot, and that's interesting. There's only 1 point separating 3rd and 4th. So again, it's another battle for that Champions League qualifying spot.
It's so tight, and just have a little bit look like further down the league. How tight is it between like 5th and 11th? Like between 5th and 11th? There's very, very tight.
Montpellier are on 37, and they're in 5th, and Brest are on 13th, and there's only 7 points between them.
So it's so tight in Ligue 1 as well. It's crazy.
I do want to make, as you pointed out earlier, about how Di Maria is underrated for PSG. He's been underrated for Argentina for a long time.
Yeah.
I think they lose so much if they lose Di Maria, because everyone Messi do you know what the thing is with Di Maria, right? When he's at the club, when he plays for the national team, Messi gets the plaudits. When he plays for PSG, Mbappe gets the plaudits, or Neymar gets the plaudits, and he just steadily goes about his business being a world-class football player.
It's like a quality street.
Oh,
the green triangle gets the plaudits, but everyone knows that the
roundup.
purple nut one is good.
But yeah, so overall, it was a fantastic game of football, wasn't it? A very good game, a great week. I like the analogy, Rowan, of the quality streets. He always has to get it in every week. Every week, there's always a thing about the green triangles.
Do you know what? We should just have a green triangle of the week.
It's consistent.
that should be our thing, green triangle.
It was the green triangle.
If Quality Street would like to sponsor us, it would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, genuinely, I'd love it.
We've got a couple of questions that have come over the time we've talked about Inter Milan and obviously this game against PSG. Chris, thank you for all of the comments and the questions. Do appreciate it. And for anybody else that is here, do put your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. We will always answer your questions. He started off saying about Pep Guardiola. Have you got any opinions on the fact he's been linked to Juventus? He says he thinks he's harsh on Sarri, but they should go all out for Pep, give him everything he wants.
I have always said if he doesn't win the Champions League or the league this year, I think this will be his last year in Manchester.
I think we said it last week, didn't we, about Pep Guardiola?
Yeah, we had a quite a big debate about it. Which, if you want to see that, it's on the last episode. We went pretty heavily into detail about it, didn't we?
We did it about Man City.
Where does he end up? Where do you think he ends up?
Where else could he go? Like
Bayern Munich again.
I don't think he'll want to do that. I think he'll want to conquer every. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's gone to Spain, he's done Germany, he's done England. Has he done Italy?
No. PSG, because they don't. Not that they don't like Thomas Tuchel, but he hasn't done enough.
I think he'll get sacked.
This is what I'm saying, and it's a league he's not conquered yet. And I liked, actually, I watched an interview with Guardiola the other day, and he said, "You're the best coach in the world." And he said, "I actually don't think of myself as the best coach in the world, because if you gave me a team less than Man City's, I wouldn't win." which I think that is complete honesty, and I absolutely love it because, do you know what people have always said about Guardiola? Oh, give him a tough team. I think if he could get either Man City or PSG next season to European success, that is brilliant because them teams have notoriously been bad in Europe.
I'm just looking at Pep Guardiola's stats in terms of like trophies. He's won the world's best club coach twice. He's won Champions League twice. This is obviously with Barcelona. He's won the English Championship twice. He's won the FA Cup once, League Cup twice. He's a 3-time Spanish champion, 2-time Spanish Cup winner, 3-time Spanish Super Cup winner, 3 times German champion, 2 times German Cup winner, 3-time FIFA Club World Cup winner, 3-time UEFA Super Cup winner, and 2-time English Super Cup winner.
Say that without breathing.
There's only one answer.
Now, Tottenham. The real question is, what quality street would Pep Guardiola be?
Oh, it's tough. I mean, I think this season Klopp is a green triangle. I go for Pep, maybe the green actual chocolate bar. Like he's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
All together, he's that main thing that holds the thing together. If he goes, he still maintains his structural integrity. If it melts, he is still a green chocolate bar. You just need to freeze it.
Do you know what?
But if it was a purple nut bar, if he melts, you've got the chocolate and you've got the nut.
This is what you subscribe for. The Quality Street analogies every single week.
Move on.
Love it. Another question. Chris Sporty says PSG have had unlucky draws in the Champions League in the past seasons, but could you say they bottled it against United and Barcelona in previous years? Is this the season for PSG to have a good run in the Champions League?
No.
I think everyone's expecting the bottle again, aren't they? Like, it happened against Barcelona most embarrassingly for them. And last year, the best night of my life. For a long time.
Rashford.
Yeah, it was incredible, but I think everyone's expecting the bottle, and it wouldn't surprise me if PSG did go quite far, to be fair.
I don't know, it's so hard to predict with the game. I think we'll talk about it a little bit more. I wouldn't mind maybe we should probably do like a Champions League preview thing, because I know there's some games on the Tuesday.
I'm going to say no, by the way.
It's so hard to tell who's going to win between PSG and Dortmund.
I think it's quite hard to predict the Champions League this year.
Yeah.
I think PSG have just failed to plug the gaps. PSG, right? My annoyance with PSG, here we go, rant time, was there's never been a problem with the PSG never score enough goals, because they always score enough goals. It's the conceding of the goals that's the problem, and they've stuck with the same back four for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
They've added Thilo Kehrer, but he had a shocker against United last year. He's a young guy though. He is young, to be fair. And obviously
he's not a left back though. That's why they were playing him left back. He's a centre half.
And they've got Kimpembe as well. But for me,
I hate him.
Excuse me, he won you the game. Be nice.
No, but
he shouldn't have been on the pitch.
He's good centre back, but when he scored at Old Trafford, he shouldn't have been on pitch.
No, I know. But anyway, what I'm saying is, like, for example, you look at the Thiago Silva, the Marquinhos. I think they need like a Koulibaly. Do you know, to really shore up the defence for them.
Leader.
For them to go forward. Because I think at left back, do I trust Juan Bernat or Kazawa?
That's the thing, they don't have a left back that's like world class.
No,
you've got to think they were trying to get Kazawa out the door only a couple of weeks
right
ago.
back, Thomas Moynier has gone well off the boil, hasn't he?
I feel my issue is if they focused more on not I think Keylor Navas, brilliant pick-up. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I think Areola, if he comes back and then starts, I think that's a brilliant pickup for them as well.
Do you think Idrissa Gueye was a great signing for them? Because I think ultimately a lot of people were saying that the midfield, they needed a CDM to solve the problem.
Ander Herrera was a wasted signing.
I think he was he's just a tad too... He's 28, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think if you go for someone in that 24-25 region this season, and then you could have picked up, for example, like the defence next to it, slowly rebuild. Yeah. Whereas now what they've been left with is quite a lot of ageing players. I say quite a few. You've got obviously Choupo-Moting, Di Maria. Anyway, and a massive rebuild needed this summer, and your best players wanting to leave. PSG,
so you're going to have to rebuild again.
PSG are just in trouble, in my opinion.
They just melt under pressure. Like it happened against Barcelona. It happened against us last year. Like we beat them with a midfield of Fred, McTominay, and Andreas Pereira, and Ashley Young was playing right wing back.
What's happened to Ander Herrera? Because
I don't know.
He signed.
I loved Ander Herrera.
And I've doing some great adverts for the PSG. I've got advertising hotels.
Quick question. Do you think the reason they bottle it in Europe, I say bottle it, I don't...
They have bottled it.
Do you think it's because the lack of important games they play throughout a season in terms of in their league? Because obviously...
Genuinely, it could be that, because their only big game comes against their rivals, which is they don't have a rival, do they? Really, in terms of league position, but obviously it's probably Lyon. Is there?
It would usually be Monaco, but because Monaco have been struggling so much.
But it's like Liverpool that always have 3 or 4 games in a season where they're their rivals, like Man United, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City. Everyone has those. Even Bayern Munich this year have got loads of them. Inter Milan, Juventus, they've got a lot of rivals in their league, whereas PSG run away with it so much. Like you said, they don't have that big match experience.
If you look at the winter break, they've since the last Champions League game, they may have had 3 months where they've not had to get up for a game because they're 13 points clear or something strange like that.
They got beat by Dijon, didn't they? 2-1, and they just didn't look up for it all. Like it were almost as if like they took it for granted. They thought they were going to win already.
It would just be hard to see if that's if that's the reason, or maybe it's they've never quite got the elite tier manager. They've had Emery, they've had Tuchel, both good managers, but at the elite tier, I don't know with PSG. They're just a bit of an anomaly.
Yeah, so we will talk about PSG and Dortmund more, of course, the Champions League. Next week's episode will be a Champions League and Europa League special. Lots of games to talk about in that one. Right, guys, should we go to the weekly roundup? Let's go for it. Weekly roundup time. Let's do it. Weekly roundup. Gets me every time.
you love to.
Brilliant. I love it every week. I always like, right, I'm so ready to hear it.
Have you mentioned Rowan's hair?
No, I haven't actually. Do you? Is that camera there? I don't think you can really. Actually, no. To be fair, if you see on the if you walk, it's on that one there. If you look on the camera, there we go. You can see Rowan did dye his hair. Of course, we did do the you lot did the deadline day stream. We reached 500 subscribers. Rowan kept his word. He did it for us. I forgot to mention that. But we do go on to the weekly roundup. For anybody that hasn't ever watched the podcast before, we basically go through some of the biggest games of the weekend. We make our predictions. Christian Lee's just put, by the way, best jingle ever.
Thank you.
It's great.
Cheers, lads.
We love it.
Cheers, lads. He knows see where the one's later.
He knows I've got a voice of an angel. So duetted many times.
See, Christian's just put, he's a ginger boy, blonde fail.
Yes, that's what we said.
That's it. Go on this weekend and get it back to. I want strawberry blonde next week.
So we go through some of the biggest games in Europe. We'll make our score predictions. I'm going to ask the question I always do every week. Has anybody got a pen?
I don't.
No?
I think one might be my.
Yes, somebody's got a pen. Get in there. Kieran's prepared.
It was just here before the show.
Do you know what? Every week I ask for a pen and I think to myself, I should probably bring one.
I can't guarantee if it'll work because it was not mine.
Hopefully it does.
Right.
So, in the case of things, this week we have got a Premier League game, but of course, as you know, the Premier League is on a winter break, so there aren't really a great deal of games that are going on. But apart from that...
You've not put Chelsea Man United on here?
Yeah, because it's midweek.
We don't do midweek.
Oh,
yeah, because Hull v Blackburn would have been on it last week, and we don't do midweek.
Yeah, and Oldham versus Crew.
5-1.
That's disgusting, that is.
Big games.
I would have predicted a Wheater sending off. I really would have.
Right, without further ado, let's go into the first game. We are jetting over from France to Spain. We're going for the battle of the... Well, how can we put this? To be honest, the battle of the bottlers, I think, is the best way of putting it. Valencia v Atletico Madrid. Does anybody want to read us through this one?
I would have said underachievers, not bottlers.
Yeah, I was thinking underperformers.
Bottlers is a bit harsh.
Yeah, we've got...
Atletico Madrid being 4th.
Underachievers. We're sticking with underachievers, don't we?
Should be... Yeah. Friday 8 p.m. we've got Valencia versus Atletico Madrid kicking off. It's weekend to say that both sides are struggling, but Valencia sits 7th and just can't keep a good run of form going, while Atletico Madrid have only won 1 of their last 4 matches.
Bottlers.
Both sides will be looking for their Champions League game midweek, but both sides desperately need the 3 points in the hope to revitalise their season. Atletico Madrid have only scored 23 goals this season, one of the worst goal tallies, but have the second best defence in the league, only conceding 15 goals.
Underachievers.
As for Valencia, they've been leaking defence, conceding 33 but scoring 32. That's a -1 goal difference. For the mathematics. The home side were able to keep hold of their star man Rodrigo in January. He has 7 assists this season. A win for Valencia could put them above Atletico Madrid, depending on results elsewhere. While Atletico, if they win, they will stay 3rd only on goal difference if Getafe lose their match against Barcelona. I've got the head-to-head results here, guys, just to help with your predictions.
Yes. Bit of context.
I've got the past 6. Atletico Madrid beat Valencia 3-2. They drew 1-0. Atletico won 1-0. Then they drew 0-0. Then Atletico won 3-0, and then Atletico won 2-0.
I'm seeing a lot of nils here for Valencia.
Yeah, Chris is agreeing. He says it's the bottle derby. The real question is, for the people in the comments, is this the battle of the bottlers or the battle of the underachievers?
Yeah, get that.
Tell us in the comments below, and put your predictions in as well. Actually, I'd like to see some of your predictions. It's a weird one because Atletico Madrid right now are in a period of crisis. They have had a lot of injuries. As far as I'm aware, Diego Costa is back and he should be ready for the game against Liverpool.
He's ready to do it all over
But they're
again.
just not scoring. And it's very weird. Their last game they did win 1-0 thanks to Angel Correa. But the rest of the side,
I feel like
how do they solve this problem?
I feel like we talk about Atletico Madrid every week, and we talk about Simeone needs time. They're in a transition period. There's nothing else to say on Atletico Madrid really. Like they are in the transition period,
but they are still in the top 4, which is bizarre considering how many we've talked about their losses.
Third, like you say, and they've only conceded 23 goals.
Yeah,
only scored 23 goals. Sorry, conceded 15.
They're 4th, by the way.
Which says they'll stay third here.
No, I think last night because I think Getafe are just ahead of them. Yeah.
Right then. I will go for 1-1.
1-1. There we go.
You feel you're tin a lot on nils for Valencia?
Well, Chris is predicting a 1-0 win for Atletico Madrid. He's saying that Atletico Madrid are mostly a 1-0 team, which I do agree on. Kieran, what are we feeling for this one?
1-0 Valencia.
1-0 Valencia.
Yeah. Atletico, it's weird because they are, as I say, we talk about how poor they are, yet they're still up there, and I don't really know how.
It's weird because, for Valencia, it's not a massive problem. The only problem with Valencia is they can't get a consistent run of form going. They'll go and win 2 or 3 games on the trot, and then they'll lose 4-1 to Mallorca.
It's going to be dependent on a lot of how they do in Champions League first legs, I think.
I also think
it's a very important part because Atletico Madrid, of course, they're playing Liverpool, and
Valencia got Atalanta. Similar team in terms of reputation and where they are in the league and stuff.
I think they are reliant on Rodrigo.
Yeah.
A little too. I think they did sign Maxi Gomez, didn't they?
He has scored 9 goals.
They did sign. Is it Maxi Gomez now?
Maxi Gomez, yeah.
And also, my thing as well is Dani Parejo seems to get not too many goals, but if you're relying on them two and Dani Parejo,
he does take set pieces though.
He does. And do you know what? He's been a leader for that team for a long period of time now.
Yeah.
And if there's anyone who can grab him through the trenches, it's probably him.
He's their big game player.
It'll be interesting to see how far these two sides go in Champions League though.
Yeah, it definitely will be.
Because if they both progress, then it'd be really interesting for their league positions.
I'm really looking forward to their game against Atalanta because it's one of those where you think that could go either way. It's either one team could batter the other, or it really could be end-to-end football.
It'd be interesting.
Do you not think it's like the black sheep of the ties? Everything else looks dazzling, and then you've got the ugly duckling tie.
But the thing is, all of the swans will be licking their lips. Quite frankly,
that is great.
Yeah,
that is wow. That's beautiful.
Sick. The analogies.
It's great, isn't it?
This is what you subscribe for, the analogies.
Rowan, what are we going for this one?
Atletico coming off a 1-0 win against Granada, and Valencia coming off a 3-0 loss to Getafe, so I'm going to go 4-3 Atletico Madrid.
The scorers of 23 goals this season.
I love it. If this is a 4-3, fair play.
I think you should get double points for 4-3.
I'll tell you what.
Do not go throwing double points.
Everyone will be going 4-3 now. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Atletico.
Can I just make a quick
point?
There's not going to be a great amount of goals in this.
Quick point about predictions last week, right? The 1 week Rowan decided to be relatively serious. All the goals had 6 or 7 goals.
Yeah.
1 week.
This is it. It'll be back to 0-0 to 1-0.
I don't want to use the word rigged, but
you did go 18-0 to one of the teams, didn't you? Was that last week?
I don't know.
That was the week before.
Last week was the Western Sydney Wanderers game, and I am extremely unhappy because it got postponed.
Bit of context for that. Of course, every week at the end of the weekly roundup, we're starting to pick out a couple of random games a week that we just predict off of the back of very limited knowledge.
They're not the big leagues.
Yeah, I picked Sydney FC versus Western Sydney Wanderers. Now, what I didn't expect is to find a message from one of you boys in the morning saying it got cancelled.
It did get cancelled
because of weather. What I didn't expect was to research this morning when the game had been put on a month later.
Oh, right.
So we're not going to be predicting that one.
Round
so instead, I put 2 games down for double points to make up for the game that we lost.
Oh,
so let's hope that these don't both get cancelled.
Man of the people, Josh Gaswell.
We love it.
Interesting ties down there at the bottom of the paper,
some very big ties, I'm not going to lie.
We're going to the Premier League ties.
Yeah, let's go for it. Over to England, of course, there's a real lack of games, of course. I said before, the winter break, so half the teams played last week, half the teams played this week, and some of them didn't play because the weather's been pretty poor, to be honest. This one is Wolves versus Leicester City. Who wants to talk about this one?
I want to do Lazio, so go on.
I'll do it, yeah.
Go on then.
The last time these two sides faced each other, we were treated to a classic. It ended 0-0, Josh, not 4-3.
Not 4-3. I got a little bit too excited over the last time they played the season before.
Was it 0-0? Was it 1-0?
0-0.
0-0.
Yes, it was 0-0. As the winter break continues, this could be seen on paper as one of the standout matches of the Premier League this week, as Leicester have an opportunity to go back into second place, although Manchester City will have a game in hand due to their suspended game versus West Ham, which we talked about that with the weather. Wolves in their recent matches have only won one of their last 5 and have a major Europa League tie against Espanyol to look towards, while Leicester have won 2 of their last 5. With the most recent match ending 2-2 against Chelsea. Good match, that one. It was
game.
Antonio Rudiger, 2 bullet headers.
Also, Harvey Barnes has hit some form as well.
Yes, he has. Jamie Vardy's from his top goal scorer with 17. However, he's come off the boil in recent weeks, hasn't he? He's getting caught up by Danny Ings and Aubameyang.
He was injured, wasn't he?
He still has come off the boil though.
No, if he were injured though.
No, he was only injured for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, he was a 2-week injury. He was back.
Yeah, but that's giving Ings and
he's got to kneel it back in. Need him back in.
He hasn't been the same since about a month ago. I'd say maybe 2 months ago. Adama Traore is 3rd on the list for assists with 7, and his best season of his career. Really, his best form of his career.
He's actually, what did we see? He was in the top 10 most form players.
He's in the top 10 most on form players in Europe by who scored.
The Wolves have only won 1 in their last 5, and he's
to think someone on the podcast called him overrated as well.
He is overrated.
No, he's not.
He just is.
Question for the chat. Very quickly.
Is Adama overrated?
Is Adama Traore overrated? I'd like to know what people think about Adama.
He is good. I'm not calling him not good, but he's not as good as people think he is.
It depends.
Do you think
you rate Fred?
Do you think there's
I do.
Do you think there's a part of his game that's lacking?
Compared
to other strikers.
Not this season.
Sorry, wingers.
Not this season.
Yeah, it's improved, but it's not as good as people think it is. Like there has been, the goal against Tottenham was good. The goal against Man City was good. The goals against Man City were good, both of them. He just isn't as good as people say he is. Like I get that players can have good form and stuff, like, but he's just not as good as people say.
It depends what level do you put Adama on? Like do you know, like say similar players you think he's a similar of ability to, like, because when you say he's not as good as people think of him, are people putting him up there with obviously not Messi?
They're putting him up there with with people like Sterling. I'd say
this season, to be fair, Sterling has
been pretty good this season. Apart from
recently,
when it's got to Christmas, it's got a bit cold. He's kind of flopped a little bit, but he's just not as good as people say. He's like, I haven't got an agenda against Traore. I like him. I like what he's done with his career. He's come up from pretty much the skinniest to like the bulkiest ever,
and he doesn't do weights.
Apparently. And
I don't believe him.
He's only got 74 physical, which is incredible.
This is wrong.
He's only one more than Cody.
Well, Chris is agreeing with Kieran. He says that he questions Adama's end product overall.
I did until this season, because you look, he's 3rd on the assist table. So and he's, who was it? I think it was his cross for was it Jimenez?
Yes.
Again, oh my God, what a brilliant cross.
He's also put Adama needs to improve on his consistency.
Yeah, he does
as well.
I think at the start of the season he wasn't. Maybe it's because the run of like the congested fixtures where he's playing a lot and he can get a little bit more form together.
Yeah,
I know a lot of players have.
They've had a lot of qualifiers, haven't they, as well? I think you think Wolves have played was it 11 games before the season started, or something like that. So a lot of games. Chris has put Adama eats weights, but that's probably why he's probably not lifted.
However, though, every time we play Wolves, I do get scared because I think when we played him at Old Trafford, he didn't. Molineux, sorry, at the start of the season, he didn't start the game, but as soon as he come on, it was like, oh dear.
He's a game changer.
He's a great super sub. His pace is electric, and that's where the worry comes from.
I think everyone with pace is just a worry in football. Like Dan James, even though he's not got the end products and stuff, he's behind Adama Traore. Just say Dan James got 6 assists this year, only 1 less than Adama Traore. He's not got the end product Adama has, but I still think I still think that Adama is overrated. Yeah.
I mean, the good thing for Adama is he's got so much time to improve his play. We've only been 24. He's got a lot of time to.
We've got a lot of players in the Premier League that are looking good now, and they're really young, which is really nice.
Chris has put big 6 teams fear Wolves. Well, in my opinion, the big 6 should fear Sheffield United right now. To be honest,
I personally think Wolves are in the big 6.
Yeah,
they are at the moment. I think there's.
We're 8th.
I remember.
And 9 for Wolves.
I remember thinking like back in the day, like, do you remember the top 6 used to be Arsenal, United, Spurs, and they were your solid top 6. Team that's not mentioned here, but I want to mention. Don't know where Everton have come from, but suddenly they're in the European races now. Yeah. Don't know where they've come from, but brilliant stuff from them. But you look at, and it's like a changing of the guard in the Premier League, and it's brilliant because you look at teams that I'd now class as top 6 sides. I'd put Leicester up there now because of this season. I'd put Wolves up there personally because
I think what's happened, it's kind of switched on it. Like
scary. It used to be United are fighting for the Champions League.
Right, in all honesty, I don't think they'll get it.
I do.
They could genuinely get it, but I don't think they will.
The fixture list that they've got, they don't play. I think they've got one game against the top 6, and that's it.
It's Man United, I think.
Yeah,
but they're the ones.
And they can win that.
They're the ones that. It's like last year when Wolves were playing, and they got into
my best mate. You're right.
They got into Europe. When Wolves got into Europe last season, who did the double of them? Huddersfield. And they finished bottom.
We've not beat him in Premier League, I don't think.
But no, I'm talking now. For example, like Sheffield United, we say it's an easy run of teams, but no game's easy in the Prem.
Like they got beat by Newcastle, didn't they, at home?
Yeah.
It's something like that could happen.
Bramall Lane's a fortress, though.
Yeah.
Without its being right now, it's crazy.
Should we make predictions?
Yeah, let's go for it. Kieran
0-0.
0-0. We don't think it's going to be a high-scoring one?
No.
Kieran L?
2-0 Wolves.
2-0 Wolves?
Yeah.
Rowan, what are we feeling for this one?
I'll go 2-1 Leicester.
2-1 Leicester? I am going to go for a 2-2 draw.
I could see all them results happening.
I was feeling 2-1 with you, Rowan, but I think I'm not going to go the same. I'm going to go different. Let's have some goals. We need some goals in the Premier League. Right, we're flying over from England to Italy. This is the big one in the Serie A. We thought last week was big.
Massive
this week's even bigger.
Before we get to it, can we Google whether Martinez will be back?
He is back, yes.
He's back. Get in there. After the back off, obviously, the game we talked about earlier, Inter Milan versus AC Milan, it doesn't get any easier because now they'll face Lazio, who are third at the moment, and it could have major repercussions on the title race going forward. The last time Lazio lost in the league was back in September to their rivals in this game, Inter Milan, where they lost 1-0. But Immobile is absolutely firing. Is there a more on-form striker in Europe? Probably not, as he's up to 25 Serie A goals. Who?
Igalo.
Up to 25 Serie A goals, and this could be the chance to finally give Lazio a long-awaited Scudetto if they can keep up their recent form.
Question, what's the Scudetto?
Title.
He's masters in Italian, him.
I am, I'm great.
But Inter Milan will be hard to beat with only one loss all season and a tough defence to break down, even though they conceded 2 to AC Milan. We ignore that.
we ignore that.
Because what you've got to talk about is the resiliency.
Yeah.
So if they do go down, they can always get back.
I think they've got it's either the first or the second best defence in Serie A.
Exactly. Inter must face Napoli tonight in the Coppa Italia semi-final, which is another tight game, even though Napoli have been on poor form. If either team wins, they will go or stay first in the league between Juve and Lazio, Inter and Lazio, as Juventus will face Brescia earlier on the Sunday. So they'll know the result of Juve going into this game.
It's so big. I didn't realise this game was on until we were watching the Inter AC when they advertised it, and I thought, wow. And everything's really on this match. I mean, Juventus, they've got quite a fairly decent game against Brescia.
They away or at home?
They are... Could you just check for me, Robin? I think they're home.
They're praying for a draw is what they're doing. They're praying that this game ends.
I'm going to go in.
They're at home.
I'm going to go in early and say 2-1 to Lazio.
2-1 Lazio.
Juventus playing tomorrow as well, by the way.
They are indeed.
Who are they playing?
AC Milan. It's the Coppa Italia semi-final. Big game, that one.
Great 4 teams left in that.
Really, really
good. So literally it could be Inter Milan and Juventus in the final of the Coppa.
Or it could be Inter. It could be a Milan derby.
Milan derby, yeah.
Or it could be Lazio Juventus. Let's get everyone out.
It could be Lazio and AC Milan.
So many opportunities.
That's how football works.
Given out what we're going for this one.
I'm going to go 1-1 because I just think it's going to end up a draw and Juve will end up back on top and it'll just constantly switch.
Rowan, what are we feeling for this one?
3-all. All right, you laugh, but Inter 1-4-2 at the weekend.
Do you know what?
And you predicted that.
Right.
Oh yeah, I did.
I'm going to go 3-2 Lazio.
Oh.
I was considering 3 to Inter.
I'll be the one that takes the punt on Lazio.
With you, it's got 0-0 written all over.
I've gone 2-1 to Lazio.
I've gone all out. I've gone more goals.
Lazio still
excited.
Win. Has anybody gone for Inter Milan to win?
No.
They're defo winning now.
To be fair,
I need them to win.
From here on out, all I need to do is just listen to what Kieran D predicts because he's 2-0 up, and I'm just going to copy whatever he says.
Chris Welch, he's predicting Inter Milan to win. He says what game? A very quick question from before. He's said, do you think Chris Wilder deserves Manager of the Year if he gets into Europe?
Definitely.
If they get into and no matter what they get, yeah.
If they come inside the top 10, I think he should get it.
But
because
I think Klopp will get it.
Yeah. But because literally everyone was saying, Sheffield United just go straight back down. The overlapping centre backs will never work, and it has worked on it.
I think he would win it if Liverpool weren't doing what they were doing.
But to be fair, right? We say we want Chrissy Wilder to win it, right? If he gets Champions League, he deserves to win it. But say if he gets Europe, why didn't Nuno win it last year? Because Nuno got Wolves to Europe.
But I think it's because they got promoted last year.
Yes, so did Nuno.
Wolves got promoted last year.
Not last year, the year before. Do you know
when they got? Did they get a promotion season?
When they finished 7th was their first season.
Who won the league then? Was that when City went?
And Guardiola won it.
Did they do 100 Club?
That was the
it was Wolves' first year in the Premier League last year.
It's where they won it on the last day of the season, even though against Brighton. So you say Chris, he should win it over Thingy, but why didn't Nuno win it?
Because I think there was a clear disparity in the terms of quality between the Wolves side that came up and the Sheffield United side that came up.
And money spent as well.
Yeah. No disrespect to the Sheffield United players or fans or anything, but the quality of their team was not as good as what Wolves.
I think they'd admit it.
But they have been incredible this year.
They've been fantastic.
I don't think it's the quality that does it. I think it's the heart and spirit of the team.
Because I really want to see Billy Sharp banging goals against Juventus.
Chris
Wilder, former Halifax legend.
Being a realist, I don't think they're gonna get it. In that, I just don't see it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, should we look at the fixtures quickly?
But to be fair, did you see Leicester winning the title? No.
Well, last day I did.
No,
when they'd won it, I was watching it. Yes, so I saw it.
When Hazard got that goal, I went, "Yeah, they're going to win it now."
Fairness, we'll look at Sheffield's fixture. I'll go through them quick. We've got Brighton, Villa, then they've got Reading in the Cup, then they've got Norwich, Newcastle, then United, then Tottenham, then they've got Burnley, Wolves, Chelsea, Leicester, Everton, Southampton.
I know they play a lot of teams that are down there, but those teams need wins and they need points.
So does Sheffield.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but I think Sheffield United will be happy.
Am I
just coming in top 10? I think this year.
Am I dumb in thinking that I think Everton not going to get in the Champions League? Don't worry. I think Everton are going to get in that top 6 or top 7 to the Champions.
I think they'll break through.
I think so to do with Tottenham. Sorry,
the way Carlo Ancelotti has changed things around.
Being honest, I genuinely think that Man United will come 5th this year. I think that we will. We will do it.
Kieran is adamant.
It's more hopeful.
I think we should do a prediction of what we think the table will look like, though.
I think we should do it as an individual video.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Not right now. God, I've not got the time. But I think it will be interesting because I've noticed when it comes to the top half, apart from number 1, everything else is a little bit up in the air.Maybe barring Leicester and City. So it'd be nice to see. Do we think Chelsea will hang on, or
I don't think Chelsea will hang on.
Right. Let's make a prediction, guys. We have already made a prediction.
We're moving over to France.
We need to go to France to make a prediction.
Let's make a prediction on the next fixture.
Yeah, go on. Lille. It's lost Lille versus Marseille, this one. Liga, this is an enticing game. 4th place Lille, they face off against 2nd place Marseille. Plaudits do have to be given to Andre Villas-Boas, who has had some incredible work at the club since he's arrived. When he joined the club, of course, they had a shoestring budget. They needed a place to leave for financial fair play rules and issues out of the club. But since then, he's guided them into the Champions League spots. Marseille, they haven't lost a game since the 4th of October. That was a 3-1 loss against Amiens. As for Lille, they also need to be given credit for how the side has conducted themselves from the exodus of summer sales at the club, of course, Thiago Mendes, Nicolas Pepe, to name a few of the players that did leave. They have won 3 of their last 3 games. They're on hot form right now, and they could close the gap between 4th and 2nd to 6 points. Their star man is Victor Osimhen. He is the star man for them. He's got 12 goals in Liga this season. He's hunting down the top goal scorer in the league, which is Ben Yedder, who has 16.
He's a future star, some would say.
Hey, we like it. Right. Liga, it's a tight one, this one, and this could really open the gap from a Marseille side that, to be honest, has been rolling. But they've had a lot of draws recently, which is why they're not as far ahead as everybody thinks. What we're feeling for this one, boys? Kieran D.
2-0.
2-0 to Marseille. Marseille, nice. What are we feeling for this one, Kieran?
I'm torn, but I'm gonna go.
You're a little late.
I am. I'm Natalie Imbruglia. I'm absolutely torn.
God's sake.
I'm going to go with 2-1 to Lille.
2-1 Lille?
Have I gone with an away win at all? No, I haven't. I need to...
No.
Up the last glins. Here we go.
Conspiracy.
Rowan, what we
sod it. 4-3 Marseille.
4-3 Marseille.
It's the effort levels we want to see.
I just don't have a clue. Marseille should win it, but
I'm going to be boring. I'm going 0-0.
Oh, you're telling me Victor?
I'm going 0-0. Yeah, I don't feel like there's going to be any goals.
I can't wait for this now.
Right.
We'll have a lot of good players. Sorry, I'm just thinking about it now. They've got Osimhen, they've got Remy, they've got Ikone, Renato Sanchez.
Samari.
Remy's not there anymore, is it?
They've lost him. He's gone to Genoa.
Boubacar Samari.
Oh, the midfielder. I thought you meant the defenders to Amaro.
Renato Sanchez.
Yeah.
Timothy Weah.
Yeah, the young.
Is he on loan from Celtic or have they signed him?
I think they signed him.
Yeah, they did indeed.
Signed him.
Yeah, permanent deal, that one.
Another convincing.
I think it's signed him, yeah.
It's double points time.
This is it, double points time. So if you've just joined the stream, basically last week, we went for double points. That didn't work out because the Western Sydney Wanderers game got called off due to weather conditions. And that's not happening for another month, so I can't be bothered to wait for another month. No. So when it actually does come around, I'll check it and see what was available. But instead, we're going to go for 2 games this week. Now, in this situation, I've given you some stats. That's all I'm going to give you. That's it. You've got to predict a score from it. Game number 1, we're picking games from across the world without barely any context. Game number 1 we picked this week is Red Bull Salzburg versus Lille in the Austrian Bundesliga. Sounds terrible on paper, but in actual fact, the Austrian league is very tight right now. There's 2 points that separate these sides as Salzburg look to go unbeaten all season. The home side have scored 66 goals all season, but Lille, they've only conceded 16 goals in 18 games. Patson Daka has taken the limelight for Salzburg since Haaland left with 14 goals. Haaland still the second top goal scorer in the Austrian Bundesliga. They are first in the league, Salzburg. Lille are second in the league. There's only 3 games left of the season. The title is close. Make your predictions.
One decides it, really.
Yeah,
the only context we get for these games is how they perform in Europe.
Yeah.
So we've seen Salzburg in Liverpool's group pull a great showing for themselves. If they were in an easier group, they wouldn't have finished 4th, which is a bit of a shame because they do deserve a bit of European football. And Lask Linz pulling out some mental results in the Europa League. I think they won 4-1 against PSV.
5-1.
5-1 it was.
Crazy game of football. But yeah, I don't like to really give you much context to these because
I don't like going first.
Oh well, you're first on the list.
Because I set the tone
set the
for
bar.
Everyone.
Yeah.
I set the bar. So when I say 0-0,
everyone's going to be
like,
oh,
0-0. 3-0 to Salzburg.
3-0 to Salzburg.
The thing is, this decides the league pretty much.
This is the league decider in Austria.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Lask Linz.
2-1 Lask Linz. Oh
no!
You think Lask Linz
because you haven't got an away win, isn't it? That's why you've got for Lask Linz.
Pretty much. I didn't say up the Lask Linz.
Rowan, what are we feeling for this
They've
one?
both got Europa League games, so 1-0.
1-0. I'm going 3-3.
Wait, Rowan's actually gone for a sensible prediction.
I'm going stupid. No, 3-2. Sorry, I'm going 3-2 to Salzburg.
Apologies, I said Salzburg finished 4th in the group. They must have finished 3rd. My apologies.
But that is game number 1. That is 4 double points. Game number 2. We're going to the Swiss Super League for this one. Luzern versus St. Gallen. Luzern have won 4 of the last 5. I said across the world.
No. I mean in terms of European competition. Like at least with Linz, I knew they were in the Europa League.
Well, we just get this line and a half that Josh has given us.
Yeah, Luzern
gets whatever he researches.
Have won 4 of the last 5. And so have St. Gallen, who are surprising the rest of the Swiss League. They are top of the Swiss League right now, which is the first time that has happened in God knows how long. St. Gallen are dominating the top goal scorers chart. They have 3 of their players within the top 5 goal scorers. That is all I'm giving you.
Jeez.
That's it. No more context.
So we'll go for a 0-0.
Go for a 0-0?
No. 2-2.
2-2. Kieran?
3-2 Luzern.
3-2 Luzern. Rowan?
St. Gallen's 6-0. And I know that sounds stupid, but St. Gallen are on 44 points. Luzern are on 27.
Wait, what?
You don't give them context. You're giving them context.
They put their answers
Good
in
logic. They're 17 points ahead of them.
I don't think you should be allowed to search.
You shouldn't technically be searching them up.
I think that's a bit...
I brought research.
It looks like I brought research to the quiz today. Get in.
Fine, I'll get in. Fine. Fine, you know what? 47-6.
No, I'll leave it 6-0 for you. I'll leave it 6-0. You can have it. I'm going to go for 5-0.
Go on,
so, Kieran, go on then.
Do it. Why not? It feels liberating.
No, we'll go for big scores. I've gone for the big scores. Apart from that,
we've been absolutely done over, Kieran.
It's all right.
It's all right. It's all right. Next week we've got it, boys. Without it.
No, Luzerne have won 4 of the last 5 form wins matches.
Right. I've gone for a draw.
I can officially confirm I haven't brought any research for the finale feature, but it is time, of course.
If he does
it's
win,
the
then
favourite section of. Well, it looks awkward if I win. It's the favourite section of the show. It's the finale feature. Let's go for it.
Quizzical. I wanna get quizzical. Let's get into quizzical. Are your answers gonna be right? I wanna hear your answers all night. Let's quizzical. This isn't the lyrics.
So we are at the final part of the episode. It is the finale feature. As always, if you've never been in the podcast before, we go over to our quizmaster Rowan, who has some fantastic questions to ask us on our football knowledge. If you want to play along in the comments below, do put them in there. Rowan will be keeping an eye out on the comments section, seeing if you've got your answers right. Without further ado,
all night.
Rowan, take it away.
France. Sorry, I just mean
France.
That's it. Wrong answer.
We're not doing football anymore, just geography.
World Cup 2018 final. Ooh. I want France's starting 11.
I love this.
You don't need subs. I just want the starting 11.
Can I have a formation,
You
please?
can have a formation.
Thank
4-4-2.
This is the 2018 final.
Yes.
Nice.
And it's 4-4-2.
So if you want to play along at home, it is the France.
It's the France.
It's
starting 11.
While you lot are doing that, I'll just read the rest of the comments. Chris Welch went for a Marseille 1-0 win, and Chris Welch Salzburg to win. Salzburg are in Europa League. Boom. So Las Lins.
They are, because Las Lins made it out of the group with. I just remember PSV.
Yeah. Chris, go for start. I want the starting 11 for the World Cup final.
Oh no, it wasn't him that played. God, take him out of the squad.
Of France,
Jesus.
2018. They obviously ended.
He definitely didn't play in the final, and if he did, then I'm stupid.
I want the starting 11, so you don't need the subs. They
How many players have I got?
Spoilers. They won the game 4-2.
They did, because
it was a great game, wasn't it?
Quick facts for the chat. I had Croatia, before the tournament started, I put £5 on them to win the whole tournament. I cashed out before the tournament started, and I'm sat there going, if they'd have got to the final, I think my cash out would have been like magic, because I put a £5 on them to win the whole thing before the tournament started.
Centre-back.
How long have we got left on this, by the way, Rowan?
I'll give you till 20. I'll give you 20 more seconds.
Sorry, I was too busy talking to you.
I'll probably give you until 22 minutes past exactly, so you've got another 40 seconds.
I really hope he played centre-back, but I can't remember.
Let us know what you think in the chat.
When you say 4-4-2, were they playing a narrow diamond?
No, they was playing Brexit 4-4-2.
I'm just asking, you know.
I think I've got it back. I don't know.
It's what it says on the Google thing.
I don't know if he played centre-back or not.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know exactly who you're thinking, because I'm thinking the same.
Josh,
I've got absolutely awful. Yeah, I've lost. I do not know the.
I'm trying to think. Who was?
I think I'm quite confident. Seconds. I'm quite confident everyone else, but just this one centre back.
I'm not confident at all. I feel like I've messed up.
I feel like I've got at least 10.
Right.
Oh, I think I've got 9.
Time. Stop typing. Hands away from the pens.
Or the phone.
Or the keyboard.
You ready?
Right. Yeah.
Goalkeeper Hugo Lloris.
Yep.
Pavard.
Yep.
Varane.
No, that's who I couldn't think of.
Umtiti.
Yeah, I got that right.
Hernandez.
Kimpembe.
Hernandez.
Yep.
Mbappe.
Yep.
I didn't even put Mbappe.
Mm-hmm.
He scored.
Forget it.
Pogba.
Yep.
Kante.
Yep.
Didn't put him.
Matuidi.
Yep.
Griezmann.
Yep.
Giroud.
Yes, I
got
10.
I knew I had 9.
10 out of 11.
I got 8 on that one.
Wait, how? If you didn't get Varane or Kimpembe?
Kimpembe didn't play. No, I put Kimpembe instead of Varane.
Oh, right.
I got 9 because I forgot Mbappe and Kante.
I got 8.
Do you know what I put instead? 10. Better players. Coleman and Tolisso. Put them in there.
I will be 2 seconds.
Do you know what? I'll put a right back. I changed it for Pavard.
Move him across.
Jibril Sadife.
Hold up. So, Josh, you got what?
I got 8 on that one.
Josh.
I don't know why. I just thought Jibril Sadife.
I just forgot all about Varane. Like, I know Titi with X. He scored.
Yeah.
Kieren L.
9.
Okay.
I got 10.
And Kieran T got...
Just to confirm it, I'll show you.
I'm just looking at Chris Welch's now. He got Lloris, Pavard, Umtiti, Varane, Hernandez, Pogba, Kante, Matuidi. Put for Kieran there, Griezmann, Mbappe.
Wait, did Matuidi start?
Yeah.
Yeah, Matuidi
Oh,
started.
good, right.
It was Matuidi, Pogba, and Kante. Didn't Matuidi start on like the right wing or something?
Yeah,
on the left.
Right mid.
It was a weird one.
This is why I asked, did they play a diamond? Because
No, it was Matuidi did start on the left mid.
I know, but
Could have took Martial.
Bloody Giroud, you are correct, Chris Welch. We'll go on to the next team.
when you go left
This-
wingers, you don't think Matuidi.
This one,
should have took Martial.
you know, we normally like to end on like...
Stop it, Josh.
You know, we normally like to end on both teams.
Yes.
So we'll do this. The Carabao Cup final,
Oh,
2019, 19.
The most
Chelsea-
recent one.
Chelsea versus Manchester City.
Right.
Right, ending 0-0.
Oh.
Can you tell me all 10 penalty takers?
Oh,
I love that.
I like that.
Oh, my.
So what was the score? Was it
0-0.
the penalty
sorry,
score?
the penalties finished 4-3.
So wait, did everyone take...
so
There
wait,
were 5 for each
So
team.
7 scores, 3 misses. Misses.
no, you don't have to say who missed. You just need to name who took
You just need to
penalties.
name me the 5 penalty takers.
Oh.
So yeah, it's the final, a League
Wow.
Cup final. It'll be 2019.
I love it, but I
Chelsea
hate it
City.
at the same
Actually,
time.
Penalties. Finished 4-3 on penalties. I want each penalty taker from each team. There are 5 each team.
I like this one.
Man City and Chelsea, did you say, yeah?
Yes.
Thank God for that.
I know, it starts writing Stoke players.
I started writing Man City players. I'm like, if Man City want in this, I'm screwed here.
It's mad because I'm trying to think if if any of these maybe got took off or brought on or stuff like that. Because if
Yeah.
oh my god,
I'm not giving you the starting 11 or anything. I just want the penalty takers.
How long have we got?
Right,
on
so
this,
Quick
by the
question.
way?
did you say there was 5
Hold
for
up.
each team?
I'm going to answer.
Yeah, he
yeah,
said
5
5
for each team.
Right.
5 for each.
You've got until 27 minutes past.
Right. Okay. So
Alright,
I do have a quick
Alright.
question.
minute 45.
Do we have to specify a silver? Because there is.
I think you should have to specify something
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
think you should have to.
Because if I just put silver, whichever one you get in,
Easy
Definitely.
point.
You have to specify.
So put D silver or B silver.
I'll put.
maybe,
both silver.
maybe both of them took a penalty. Maybe none of them took a penalty.
No, because if I put both of them, I'm pretty sure one of them did. So we'll
So you're really securing
I need one
one
more
of the
Chelsea
bags.
player.
scoring half the bag.
Let us know in the chat what you think. I want each penalty take for each team.
No,
in
he
the
wasn't
League
there.
Cup
He
final.
wasn't there.
Right.
Take
I've got
him
mine.
out.
In the League Cup final, you got around a minute left.
I've got mine.
Ooh, Kieran's already got his.
I was gonna put this player down, and I thought, no, he left, didn't he? Oh, I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. If I just give you a hint, it's interesting to see was a certain person injured at the time because he spent a lot of last season injured.
I ain't got a clue what.
I've put him down as well.
You know who I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah, I've put him down as
He's
well.
very because I can't
I
remember
don't
if he
think
was
you've,
injured.
you've
at this
actually.
time.
Oh, I hate you so much. I'm changing him now.
I really like this
That was
one.
the tactic.
Of course,
all
as well.
along,
Put him
didn't
in the comments
think he
below
might
if
have
you're
been
playing
injured.
along.
I
Yeah.
think you were injured.
Yeah, and just in case you've got any other players, actually all the starting midfielders are injured, so you just take all them out.
Every single Manchester City striker was injured.
Did a defender take a penalty? Did a goalkeeper take a penalty? Was he one of the
No,
5?
he was the one that didn't want to come off.
Kepa wasn't originally going to take a penalty
He
until he
didn't wanna
decided he
come off.
wanted to take the penalty, so he said, "Sorry, I'm taking the penalty."
He was the one that decided the list of penalty takers.
I mean,
Right, Rowan.
if
Just,
you look at the list,
just to know I'm not cheating, I've crossed Thingy off there. Yeah, I've crossed him off there. Just so.
By the way, we've got for 8 seconds.
by the way, there's beeping.
It's beep.
Phone.
Sorry, I've got nothing else I can do.
I know.
I can't
Right,
use the
Josh, stop typing.
Oh yeah, stop typing.
I've spelt his name wrong. Oh, well.
It's alright.
pen. No, that's not allowed. I want spelling.
He wasn't even. Oh no, he was there. Was he?
100% spelling.
This is as much a spelling test as it.
Tevez wasn't there last year.
Right, is everyone
No.
ready?
Go on.
We'll start with Chelsea. We'll start with City.
Right.
Gundogan,
Yep.
Yes.
Aguero,
Yes.
Yep.
Sane,
Yes.
Nope.
Silva,
No.
Which one?
Bernardo,
Get in.
and Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
I didn't
I
get
put Gabriel Jesus.
Aren't you glad you took KDB off now?
I don't remember seeing Sane.
So.
So no, I don't remember when you showed me.
Aren't you glad you took KDB off now?
How many's,
No,
ev-
because
how
I
many's
put
everybody got
Jesus
so
down.
far?
I'll take over all
I
answers.
got-
I got
after.
4.
I got 2.
I got 3.
Well, who did you put, Josh?
I put De Bruyne.
Okay.
I put David Silva. 'Cause I thought I'll put both Silvers down because at least
At least
one's
one
got to be right.
I put both Silvers down.
And I put Gabriel Jesus.
I put Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Chelsea. Jorginho,
Yep.
Yep.
Aspilicueta,
No.
Emerson,
What?
David Luiz,
Oh, he did. Yes.
and Hazard.
Yes.
I got 2.
Three of them, three
Hold
defenders.
Did I pick the only defender not to take a penalty? Marcus Alonso.
Yeah.
as if.
I got 2.
So overall, what did you lot get?
6.
Josh, Kieren D, you got 6. Kieren L?
5.
Overall?
Oh, yeah.
Because you got
put Marcus Alonso, didn't I?
And Josh?
5.
Overall?
I'm just happy I got David Luiz because I put Higuain down at first.
I put Willian, Giroud and Kante. I'm like, Willian must have took one.
I put the ones I got wrong were Willian, Giroud.
No wonder they lost the penalty shootout.
Yeah, I put Jorginho, Kante, Hazard, David Luiz.
Jorginho missed his penalty and David Luiz missed his penalty. 2 of the defenders.
Can I just say I'm really surprised Emerson didn't, because Emerson just hits things as hard as possible. Like whenever he goes through, he just hits it as hard as possible.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah. Oh, is there another one? Oh,
yeah, the bumper one. I'm just going to check Chris Welch, Sterling, Gundogan, Hazard, Jorginho, David Luiz, David Silva.
Running out of space here.
Jesus. He was so he got all the Chelsea defenders.
What a lad.
David Luiz, Emerson. Yeah, fair play to you, Chris. Okay, final one. It's the bumper one.
Right.
Want both starting 11s. Champions League final, 2019, Tottenham Liverpool.
Oh wow.
I want both starting 11s.
Okay.
Tottenham and
Do you want the
Liverpool.
subs as well?
No, just the starting 11.
Oh, I don't want to put Liverpool. I want to put Liverpool. There we go.
And Aguero is one of the obvious ones for when you think of City penalty takers, but has he been subbed off for Jesus in that match? I think that was the question that a lot of people were thinking. Was he brought on as an extra striker in case of subs?
How long have we got for this one, by the way?
Because it's starting 11, I'll give you 4 minutes, 5 minutes ish.
Nice.
5 minutes. Give us the.
You know what we need is we need like some elevator music.
Yeah, we do.
Get a timer on the screen or something. I'll sort something out.
Alright, shut up. Please stop. Please.
It was worth a try, Rowan.
I know. People can't concentrate.
Harry Kane, was he there? Did he play?
I'm not telling you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice.
4.5
I've
minutes
got 10
left.
as well.
Well, surprisingly, there were 22 players on the pitch, so I'd hurry up.
So funny, Rowan.
Brilliant stuff from Rowan there. He's absolutely in your head, rent free.
You can just hear the typing, the silence.
Sorry, it's my aggressive typing.
It's alright, no, the silence, the thinking. Chris Welch just put his team in. Ooh.
So we've got not too long left now.
Chris Welch, I think you might have got it correct.
This is actually really difficult.
Chris Welch, don't look in the chat, but he's got the Liverpool XI correct.
I think I have as well.
Exactly.
Hold on, how many players do I have here?
I've got Liverpool one.
I need 2 more. 2 more.
I need 1 more Tottenham player.
4 minutes.
2, 3, 4,
3.5 minutes
7,
left.
8, 9, 10. I'm missing someone.
No.
I've got it.
Yeah, 3.5.
I've got both
Yeah.
11s, I think.
Well done. You think?
I think.
Were there any shockers? Maybe there were an injury for a player.
What was the formation of Spurs?
Spurs were 4-2-3-1.
No, I haven't. Yes, I have.
Right.
Kieran doesn't know what to do with himself.
I don't know if he played or not.
See if Chris
I've got 1 position missing. And it's going to annoy the crap out of me.
I don't know if he played or not. There's 2 players in the Tottenham team that I don't know if they played or not.
1,
Let
2,
us know
3,
in
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Let us know in the
11.
chat, by the way, if you think
1,
of
2,
Chris
3,
Welch has
4,
got the
5,
Liverpool
6,
team
7, 8,
correct.
9, 10.
So fair play to you. If you hadn't googled that,
I'll
fair.
just put
Well
that
done.
in there.
I
There we
don't
go.
think he
Got
started.
11s. I
He
think
never
I've got
started.
2 11s, but
I think it is quite an obvious team, the Liverpool one, but maybe there were an injury. Maybe they weren't. Maybe the centre backs were an issue. Who knows? Tottenham.
Is the Tottenham one?
There's a player. There's 2 players.
I'm putting that in
Tottenham.
brackets, but I'm not counting it. I'm just interested to see whether he played
There's
or
2
not.
players I've got for Tottenham that I don't think played. Are we all done, by the way?
I've got an 11 for both.
So have I.
I have.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Chris Welch was nearly correct with the Tottenham team. We just got 1 player incorrect.
Right, go on.
1, 2,
I'm ready.
Right,
We're ready.
Go on, I'm
Is
ready.
everyone ready?
I just want
All
to get
good.
it over with because I'm really sore about how bad I've been.
We'll start with the Liverpool team because the Liverpool team's the most obvious.
Right.
Alisson in net.
Yep.
Alexander-Arnold. Matip.
Yes.
Van Dijk. Robertson. Henderson. Fabinho.
Yep.
Fabinho.
Yep.
Wijnaldum.
Yes.
Salah.
Yep.
Firmino. And Mane.
I got 11 out of 11.
I got 11 out of 11.
How about
I got 10.
Ooh, who did you get wrong?
Ooh.
I put Alisson, Arnold. That was it. I put Joe Gomez instead of in Matip.
Matip, yeah. I knew the centre back.
I put in brackets as well Oxlade-Chamberlain. Just because I was interested to see, did he come off the bench, Chamberlain, or did he not play at all?
I think he's just lost the scores.
No, I ain't. It's alright. You were on.
Do you want us to tell you what we got again?
No, you're right.
I don't remember because I've.
No, it's all good. Kieran, what did you get then?
11.
Okay, that puts you on that. And Josh?
I got 10.
Okay, woo. Alright, final team. We'll go to the Tottenham team. Chris Welch, well done, by the way. Just got one Tottenham player.
This team's going to be burning my life.
Right, ready?
I've messed this up because I think I'm winning so far.
In net, Hugo Lloris.
Yep.
Kieran Trippier.
Yes.
I'm wrong again. I'm out.
Alderweireld.
Yep.
Vertonghen.
Yep.
Rose.
Yes. Come on.
Sissoko.
Yep.
Winks.
No.
Ericsson.
Yep.
Ali.
No, I forgot Dele Alli.
Son.
Yep.
Kane.
Why did I think Lamella would start?
I put Lamella as well. I put Eric Dyer.
All right, Josh.
I got 10.
Okay.
I got 9.
I got 9 as well.
I think I've won.
You did.
Yes, boys.
Yeah,
And how much did you get?
I got 9, mate.
I put Lamella in as well.
He never starts.
Yeah, no, I was. You
right.
in 4-2-3 when I was like.
The player that I was thinking of was Lucas, but obviously got dropped, didn't he, for the.
I need to stop asking formations for the pure fact that 4-4-2 meant Matuidi at left mid. So I'm just going to ignore that next.
Right.
Okay.
How's it gone, Rowan?
In last place is Josh.
I'm guessing it's a really close one.
It's very close.
Wow.
Because I accidentally deleted Kieran's initial score, but I think I remembered it, so we're all right.
It's all right. I don't think I would have won anyway, mate.
You'd be surprised.
No, I'm not.
Kieran Allen second. Yeah, you were 1 point off.
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
No, it was quite close.
All right, fair enough. I'm surprised.
It was the point that you dropped on the Spurs one that I thought, oh damn, this is a two-way horse race.
The winner, Kieran Dillon, 36 points.
Damn, fair play.
How many weeks
fair
have we
play.
had now of the quiz? Am I on 3 wins or 4? Because I know.
I think you're on 3.
You are on 3
I've
wins.
won,
I've won 1,
twice.
and you've won twice. Because we started kind of like halfway through the
dubs.
halfway through the show. Because
we
started.
Are we taking that from before the year, like before 2020?
I don't know.
I think
I've only won twice. Like,
I think we've.
I've won 4 then. I think.
Yeah. I know we kind of messed about it with it, didn't we? Because we
We'll
started
go
before the
back and
beginning of the year. Usually we would have the team of the week, but because we started earlier today, we thought we might as well start it early, get you nice up and early. We don't have any team of the week to look at because it's not out till 3 o'clock, so we'll leave that section for this time.
I'm going to break in.
Yes, go for it.
According to some sources, Chelsea have reached an agreement with Ajax for the transfer of Hakim Ziyech for £38 million.
That's nice.
What's that? What's the source?
That's De Telegraph in Holland. That's reporting that one.
I think just like to say, if you're new to the channel, on Mondays we have the Team of the Week predictions for FIFA. On Tuesday we do On Tuesday we have the Ring Rust podcast where we talk about everything wrestling: AEW, NXT, SmackDown, Raw, pay-per-views, Ring of Honor, any wrestling basically. Wednesday we have obviously this wonderful podcast, Top Corner podcast. Every Wednesday we talk about European football. We've got your predictions. We've got the quiz. Thursday we've got the NFL podcast.
What are you talking about this week on the NFL Corner?
I think we're probably going to talk about where some free agents we predict will land up. So obviously in the free agency market you've got a lot of big quarterbacks. You've got Brady, you've got Breeze, my boy Jameis, even though he don't play for us. But so we're just going to kind of predict where we think everyone's going to end up. Will they stay where they are? And
because give the XFL a shout.
We'll say, well done, pat on the back, good week for the XFL. It was actually quite fun.
So that's tomorrow, and then that'll be uploaded.
And then on Friday, it's Sports Day.
Yes.
Where I think we'll talk about the Six Nations from last week for sure. Some little bit of F1 news. I don't know what you lot would have to talk about.
China Grand Prix. You're probably going to be mentioning that, aren't you?
Yeah, that's why it's the F1 news.
I'm
just saying.
I might send something to you because I won't be here.
I won't be here either.
But obviously UFC 247 was last weekend with Jones v Reyes. Slightly controversial event due to some judges. One judge actually. I don't know why I've said some. But so I might send you something for that because I won't be here because it's my birthday this weekend.
Hey,
happy birthday.
Do you know we used to do the birthday thing? Happy birthday, Kieran.
So that will be Sports Day on Friday. Me and Rowan will be here for that one. Should be quite good. It'll be the first episode of that.
How we do it.
Yeah, it'll be good fun. I've got a set very similar to how Sky Sports has.
Yeah,
so
I have an idea as well.
we'll be going on that
better.
one. We're much better than Sky Sports. So that is it for the Top Corner podcast today. Thank you very much for joining us as always. If you are new to the channel, just as Rowan said, do leave a like and a subscription. Plenty more content to come over the week. keep your eyes out next week. The Top Corner podcast will be back for episode 12, but it's a Champions and Europa League special. Lots of Champions League and Europa League football to talk about, as well as a very special Champions League / Europa League finale feature from Rowan. Very, very excited about that. So once again, thank you very much for joining us on episode 11. Can't believe we're flying through these very quick.
We're working our way through.
We hope to see you again soon. See you later.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Later. Bye-bye. Bye.